Hello and welcome to this very, very special interview that I have with us today. In the early part of the 90s, at the start of the 2000s, this duo had the wood over the entire tennis world. They were aptly dubbed the Woodies. Yes, you know who I am talking about. One was Mark Woodford, the other half of the Woodies I have with me is Todd Woodbridge. Todd, thank you so much for taking time out and interacting with us.
My pleasure. No, it's nice to hear you talk and think about the memories, but then I'm also looking forward to what's about to happen in Australia in a few weeks' time.
Absolutely, absolutely. Todd, in 2022, we saw one of the greats bow out in Roger Federer. Now, in 2023, Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic have one more year, but they are in the wrong side of the 30s. Is 2023 the start of the big three just fading away and the new generation coming up when it comes to tennis?
Well, I think there is certainly the big question mark over it because when you look at what happened at the end of last year when Carlos Alcaraz came through to win the US Open, and I didn't think that we would see that change, but it is happening. However, I think that Novak Djokovic still has plenty to say about owning the most majors in men's tennis. I know that he's incredibly driven to be able to get back in front of, first he has to tie, but get back in front of Rafa Nadal. So I think we're in actually for a very good 6 months because I think we have to see whether Rafa can bounce back from injuries. Obviously, he has a new son, brand new family, and lots of different distractions than he's ever had in his life and career before. But Novak, because of the choices that he made last year or this year in 2022, he left a little bit out there. But we've got to remember he's hungry and he's fit, and he will be back in Australia, and that's the place that he's won 9 of his majors. And I think it's going to be a very, very interesting Australian Open.
It is the subject of this tricky subject of Novak Djokovic that I'm next coming to, Todd, because we all saw the fiasco what happened in 2022 when it came to the Australian Open, Novak's vaccination and everything. He's back in 2023. But do you think the Australian Open is still recovering from what happened in 2022?
Well, the tournament and the fans definitely not. I think there will be a lot of talk about it, and it will be something that he's going to have to deal with on his arrival. But he's a true professional, and he's dealt with many things within media over his career, so he's got that experience. I think it's great for the tournament. Ultimately, we want all of the very best players there, and that didn't happen at the beginning of this year. And our laws and rules have all changed, and our doors are open, and everybody is welcome to come back. And I think that's the message that the tournament has out there, and that's the message for Novak. As Australians, we're allowed to travel now. We weren't allowed, and we're allowing everyone in, and he's a part of that journey now. And I think he knows how much he loves playing on Rod Laver Arena. He's going to be here in Australia early. He's playing the Adelaide International. So his preparation is going to be perfect. And given what I saw at the end of last year, when he did get back out on court, I was courtside for his first match at Laver Cup in London, and he was sharp. He was hitting the ball as well as I've seen him hit the ball from close range. And I think that he is the favourite to win the Australian Open. I think that he is the man to beat. I think he has so much motivation coming down under. It's going to be worrying for the rest of the field.
Absolutely. So now I'll come to the double scenario. The Woodies and then the Bryan brothers, they had established a certain level of dominance until 2020. For the first 20 years of this century, we have seen this duo, you, Mark, and then the Bryan brothers establish this dominance. But with the retirement of the Bryan brothers, do you see men's doubles now more open and competitive?
Yeah, definitely. I've seen I've got to be honest with you. We had a brilliant year from Australian perspective this year with Kyrgios and Kokkinakis winning the Australian Open, and then they beat Max Purcell and Matt Ebden in that final, who then went on to win Wimbledon. So I'm looking at it from an Aussie look, going, hello, we've actually got some really great teams going again that are playing the style of tennis that we used to play. Maybe not so much the Kyrgios Kokkinakis, but the other two were. And that's exciting to me. And I think what's really important is that Nick has used the doubles to showcase the importance for himself about what winning Grand Slam titles is. I think a lot of people don't understand what it feels like when you haven't done it to then when you have. You're a Grand Slam champion, and that is something that you take with you forever in the game. Nick learnt that at the Australian Open, and I think the light bulb, switch went off in the head, and he's gone, hello, I actually have some real pride in this and I want more. And he's used that for his singles as well. But in the doubles scenario, it's pretty obvious what stands out. And that's when you can get a couple of duos that are from a country that are able to go out on tour and play together and use that as a springboard to their success, as we had with Mahesh and Leander, with Mark and myself, with Bob and Mike Bryan. The country would get behind you, and then you could represent each other and your countries at the Olympics and those types of events. So, they're the things I hope that the tour can really concentrate on and get some national teams getting out on tour and winning titles. But, I did call a lot of the matches at Wimbledon this year, and I thought the doubles quality was some of the best I've seen for many years, and that excited me.
All right. If you look at 2022, Todd, it was a mixed year for Australia, but you almost managed to get glory by coming close in the Davis Cup. Do you think that the Davis Cup, unfortunate final loss, but the talent that it has on show, it gives you much more promise for Australian tennis heading into 2023?
Well, we've had one of the best years in Australian tennis that we've had in about 40 years. We had Ash Barty win a Grand Slam Australian Open. Nick is a runner-up at Wimbledon in the men's singles. We had two teams win men's doubles. We had a mixed doubles victory as well. Women in the final of the Billie Jean King Cup and men in the final of the Davis Cup. When you rattle it off like that, it's quite extraordinary. But in terms of the men in the Davis Cup, well, we didn't have Nick play. And if we can get him back in the team, we've got a really strong team of he and Alex de Minaur and our doubles combinations that have won majors as well. And, yes, we can win. They've got themselves through to that final, which was a great effort. And now they don't have to play the rest of the year. So they can go into the final next year without having to do all the qualifying. And I think that's essential for any team to do well, because it gives, say, the likes of Nick Kyrgios an opportunity to say, yes, I'm just going to play that 1 week and doesn't have to play 3 or 4 weeks to be able to get there. So I'm pretty happy and looking forward to seeing what they might be able to bring. But overall, though, I mean, my hope is that the Davis Cup competition finds a way to become more relevant around the world, because unfortunately, the fact that it's nowhere near Australia anymore, our public just don't recognize the event like they used to. So there's a lot of work to be done from the officials that run it to recognize what is the best format to play it in.
Okay, so thank you so much, Todd, for your time. It's been a real pleasure. And yes, as you said, memories, even for me growing up, I only knew the movie before Lihesh. So thank you so much for taking me down memory lane. And remember, folks, you can watch the official broadcast of the Australian Open on the Sony Sports Network, and it begins in January 2023, just 2.5 weeks away now. And
yes,
so
it's not far. I got to go do my homework and get my head in the game for commentary as well. But it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for having me.
Hope to meet you in the near future, Todd. Really praying. And thank you so much for your time. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis, folks. Press that like, comment, and share button so that we are also on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as well. Bye-bye. Thank you, Todd.